Hello everybody, my name is Brandon Schollenberger, and today I'm going to make a video about a really stupid thing that's going on in the Dragon Ball Super Trading Card Game community. I am not an important person in the game's community, but I think it is important somebody step up and set the record straight. To jump right into things, this all began when an individual named Mark Hill made a video criticizing a video posted by another individual named Dusty O'Brien. The central focus of Mark's criticisms was
It promotes slow play openly.
Mark took his video down after I criticized him for making this claim, specifically after I posted this short video to YouTube.
What is up, guys? This is Mark from DBSDecks.com, and I am bringing you a response to Meta Monday number 12 is Playing for a Draw Bad, which was released by Dusty O'Brien and KTM. It promotes slow play openly.
Now, before we get into this topic, I want to make a big disclaimer here. I'll probably have it flashing everywhere. I am not talking about slow play. Do not slow play your opponent. It is scummy. It is against the rules. This is not what I'm talking about.
The idea Dusty openly promoted slow play in a video containing a flashing message saying not to slow play is insane. Recognizing this, Mark took his video down even as he continued to defend it in private messages we exchanged, which I will not be sharing. I find that disreputable, but would have let things be if that was the end of it. It was not. Instead of letting matters lie, Mark decided to run an article someone wrote for him behind the paywall of his Patreon account, which repeats much of the same narrative. You can see two relevant paragraphs on screen. An interesting difference between this text and Mark's video is there's no claim of Dusty openly promoting slow play here. The claim has shifted to saying Dusty promoted slow play via subtext or the like, contradicting the clear directive he gave which said not to slow play. This new claim is still false. It can be seen to be false by examining the example given, a deck Dusty used in Magic the Gathering. Here's Dusty's description of the deck he played.
Explain what a lock is and how I achieved it with this deck. And there was a card called Stonehorn Dignitary. Now, what this card does is when you play this card out, your opponent is unable to attack you next time they could attack. So during their turn when they attack you, they just have to skip their attack phase. They're not allowed to attack you. But then Venser is a planeswalker that you can choose a card, you can remove it from the game, you can bring it back in. And so what you would do is you would play Stonehorn Dignitary, they'd have to skip their attack step. On your turn, you would just bounce out Stonehorn Dignitary, bring it back. Again, they have to skip their attack phase, and you would just keep doing that.
The combo described here is simple. The first card effectively says when you play it, your opponent cannot attack on the next turn. The second card effectively says once a turn, you may remove a card from the board and replay it at the end of the turn. Because this lets you play the first card every turn, your opponent can never attack. There are many ways to stop this combo in Magic the Gathering, and many decks in the game don't even need to attack to win. Still, if the combo got rolling against the deck which needs to attack to win, that deck could be locked out of the game. So what should the pilot of such a deck do?
And it's very, very simple. You just scoop. So that might seem really weird, but that's absolutely what you do. And I found that out very fast when I started playing in the top tables at the states championship. Right when I played against good players, once they saw me get that lock on them with Venser, they would just scoop. They would go, okay, you've got your combo together. There's nothing I can do to beat this right now. Let's just scoop it up and go into the next game.
That's right. Dusty's advice was if you reach the point in a game where you cannot win and you need time to play more games to get the number of wins you're aiming for, you should concede to save as much time as you can to play those additional games. Conversely, Dusty goes on to explain if you cannot lose a game and you do not need to play another game to get the number of wins you want, you have no incentive to kill your opponent quickly. That does not mean you should play your turns more slowly. Doing so would be slow playing, which is
It's scummy. It is against the rules.
the distinction here is as simple as the phrase slow play. Slow play requires you play slow. That is against the rules. What is not against the rules is choosing not to try to win a game. There is no rule which says when given a chance to win a game, you must take it. That's because rules do not tell players how to decide what cards to use and in what manner. Rules dictate the mechanics of how to play the game, not the strategies. This is not a complicated matter, and Mark has often talked about how good he is as a judge. It's difficult to believe he does not understand this distinction. In fact, I think he understands it just fine. In his video, he describes slow play correctly.
And then the strategy that's given is nothing short of wear as much time off the clock as possible with every move and then slow play it out. That's it in a nutshell.
Wearing as much time off the clock as possible with every move is slow playing. Mark shows he understands that is slow playing. Everyone involved understands that is slow playing. The only disagreement arises from the fact Mark explicitly claims that's what Dusty told people to do. That is a lie. Dusty never said anything of the sort. That's really all that matters. That's where the conversation should stop. Mark said something that was obviously false, and rather than admit he made some sort of bizarre mistake, he kept defending it. That's lying, and that's all there really is to it. But since I've already started this video, let's look at more of the misrepresentations Mark relied on for his video. Here's Dusty explaining how a similar deck to the one he used in Magic the Gathering can exist in Dragon Ball Super.
It's the Universe 9 decks with Bergamino. If you have 2 of them out, your opponent's actually unable to attack you. And so you can do the same thing against your opponent. You could sit there with both of those out and just be like, hey man, you can't attack me. Sorry, you can't attack me. They have barrier. There's nothing you can do about it. I'll just sit here and wait for the round to almost be over, and then I'll kill you.
Dusty does not say this is a good deck. He does not say it is a popular deck. He simply says a similar style of deck to the one he used in Magic the Gathering exists in Dragon Ball Super, and as such, it makes sense for him to tell the story he told. This is what Mark says of this.
Decks with the Bergamo lock deck, which is a leader that's never been relevant in any meta.
The fact a particular deck has never been relevant to a meta doesn't matter for Dusty's point. Dusty's video was about how players can adopt different strategies based on the amount of time they expect games to take. That's all. The fact the video is part of a series named Meta Monday does not mean every deck mentioned for any reason in it is being labeled a meta deck. That said, Mark's commentary here is ironic. While Mark says this is a leader that's never been relevant in any meta, the Bergamo lock Dusty described does not require any specific leader. It works with any leader. That is why a number of people have been building the exact deck Dusty described with leaders from the upcoming expansion. Who knows? It may be a top-tier deck in just a few weeks. As another example of how decks can, or at least could, exist in Dragon Ball Super, Dusty described a deck he actually ran in a past event.
The first thing is I call negate control. That's just negate cards that completely shut down your opponent's turn. There's 2 of them in the game. One sees a lot of play, which is obviously Flying Nimbus. That's a card that gets a lot of play. And the second one is one that gets not as much play. That's a Raccoon Eraser Gun. And I actually built a fog deck with these cards. I used SS3 Goku, and I made it blue, yellow, and I just played these 2 cards. And I would get to a spot where my opponent just couldn't attack me. They would go to attack. I'd be like, nope. Raccoon Eraser Gun, you can't attack anymore this turn. Mag turn, cool, I'll just play out some more blockers, I'll play defensively, and I just essentially stalled the game out. I made it so they could never really attack me. I played it with apes, and then I eventually get to a spot where I just had so many blockers and so many negates that they could never get an offense going, and then I would kill them, whenever I felt like I was in a situation where they couldn't recover from.
This is a story about a deck Dusty actually played some months ago. Obviously, there's no particular reason to think a deck used months ago would still be viable today. Mark says,
and then an SS3 negate control deck, which is also a leader that is banned right now and also not relevant in the meta.
The reason we tell stories about past decks is not to say those decks are viable today. We examine past decks to try to gain insights which might apply to the current meta. That is what Dusty did. For whatever reason, Mark pretended it wasn't. Now, we've been talking a lot about the video, but you might wonder what the article on Mark's Patreon says about all this. The answer is a lot. The article is approximately 1,700 words long, with about 1,300 of those words being devoted to how Dusty's examples aren't viable in the current meta. You can see a small excerpt on screen. It is similar to what Mark said, but it goes further, explicitly saying, Dusty continues to state that U9 is a viable strategy. This is a blatant fabrication. Nothing in Dusty's video says that. but that's trivial compared to what follows. After that claim, the article gets weird, like really, really weird. The article goes on to tell a 1,000-word story, yes, 1,000-word story, about a hypothetical game that happens if a person takes both examples, Dusty discussed, combines them into a single deck, and plays like a moron. And not just any moron. A moron who apparently thinks you need to combo to 25,000 to stop an attack from a 5,000 energy boosted Majin Buu. Yes, I'm serious. I'm going to try to read part of this story now to show what I mean about it, how weird it is. I hope you'll forgive any oddities in my speech patterns in terms of grammar and the like. That's taken straight from the story. I also hope you'll forgive any poor voice acting on my part. That's just me being terrible at doing voices. So let's begin. The opponent plays down another 1-drop creature card. For this scenario, I'm going to use the 1-drop blue Majin Buu. Plays it down, draws a card, swings in with the boot. You can't negate, you're tapped out. In this scenario, your remaining cards in hand. Remember, this is the ideal situation to get the right cards out on field. Your cards in hand are 2 Bergamo, a 1-cost 10k combo card, a Riku's Eraser Gun, and say 2 more 5k combo cards that you are now forced to use to save the defender. Yeah. Deadly Defender cards are a group of cards coming out in the new expansion which have 20,000 power by default. They lose 5,000 power during the opponent's turn, going to 15,000 power. Energy Boosted Majin Buu, a 1-drop blue Majin Buu that draws a card, clearly what the story is referring to, has 5,000 power. 5,000 power attacks 15,000 power card. And the 15,000 power card needs to spend 2 5,000 power combo cards to go up to 25,000 power to save itself from the 5,000 power. Hold on, I'm sorry, I need to stop this recording for a moment. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I just needed a minute to clear my head, try to come back recentered, refocused so I could finish discussing Mark's video, the article he posted, and all of his public commentary on this issue. But as it turns out, I just can't. I just can't keep talking about this. There are too many bizarre things in all of this. Mark's video and this article just aren't sane. They aren't rational. There's some combination of lies and delusional ravings of people who must not share the same objective reality as the rest of us. And as such, there's just really nothing more to say. So, yeah. Peace out.